Now, Arise correspondent Mary Chinda has been meticulously following up with the supplementary elections in Adamawa State, and she now joins us for a quick update. Thank you very much, Mary Chinda. Good to see that you're already out there.
Good evening to you, Dr. Ruben.
Thank you. Well, quickly, the drama of the year unfolding in Adamawa State. What's the latest? Since INEC announced that the declaration by the REC was null, void, and of no effect, and that both the REC and the returning officer should report to the headquarters in Abuja.
Indeed, there couldn't be better words to describe all of what has unfolded here this morning than the drama of the month, maybe the drama of the year, perhaps. We were all gathered at the INEC office, most other journalists making their way for the 11 a.m. rendezvous that the INEC had actually given to us for the completion of the collation of results from about 10 other local government areas today. Notice that up until 1 a.m. last night, we were at the collation center and only 10 local government areas where results from 10 local government areas were collated, and then they had given us an 11 a.m. rendezvous, and we were making our way. Most journalists were making their way, while a few others were there. But at about between 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., the resident electoral commissioner in company of the commissioner for police had actually stormed the INEC office, and he began to, make a declaration for the APC gubernatorial candidate as the winner. And of course, people didn't take it lightly, knowing that legally it is not within his purview to make an announcement, especially when the result from the other local government areas had actually not been collated. And then people tried to quiz him, and of course there was some drama in full swing, drama in capital letter, that actually ensued there, and then he had to leave the area as well in company of the commissioner for police. And then a couple of moments later, we get feelers from the INEC headquarters saying that the collation has to be suspended, and the general feel is from being peaceful, and all of the peace that we felt here in Yola, the Adamawa State capital, to a little of tension, apprehension, and some kind of chaos. I spoke to a handful of young people on the streets of Yola, and I tell you what, it almost looks as though they cannot wait to be unleashed on the streets, almost feeling like, their mandate is actually gone and all of that. So, from peace, from calm, to chaos, so much so that a lot of the roads were being cordoned off, and people did not even know what was going to be happening next. I'm reporting now as to what the feel of Yola, the Adamawa State capital, was as at the morning when this drama unfolded.
Well, since then, have there been any statements, apart from the statement by INEC, from the two major candidates, that's Governor Fintiri and Mrs. Aisha Dahiru? Have they said anything? Or the parties in Adamawa State, have they spoken?
Well, these are the main actors in this, in what's actually unfolding. Just this afternoon, the incumbent governor, made a press conference, and he actually called his supporters to just be peaceful and remain calm, hoping that INEC was going to do the right thing, especially after the meeting with the REC and the other national commissioners at the INEC headquarters. Meanwhile, we didn't exactly attend that press conference, but we understand that the APC gubernatorial candidate who was allegedly declared the winner of the polls had actually also had a press conference and, some sort of acceptance speech, on her own part as well. But within the hours and the days to come, we would understand exactly what direction this whole drama is going to be taking.
Well, the tension, the apprehension, the anxiety that you say you have observed on the streets of Yola, has there been any kind of attempt on the part of the security agencies to be on alert with regard to that? Or the policemen are busy following the wreck about? Please go ahead.
Okay, yes, I will tell you what, from the body language of the policemen and the body language of men of the Nigerian army who are unleashed on the streets, it's a lot more, they're a lot more careful, they're a lot more intentional about keeping the calm and keeping the peace within Yola, the capital of Adamawa state. I had reported earlier that over 1,000 policemen were actually deployed for this particular election. But if you go around the streets of Yola, it's a lot, the policemen are a lot more intentional, concerning movements and all of that, to ensure that they can quell any violence that erupts in the capital city.
Well, the People's Democratic Party has called for the arrest of the resident electoral commissioner because what he has done, in their view, is subversive, but on the surface of it is a violation of Section 66 of the Electoral Act 2022. Is there any conversation around that among the general populace, that is the resident electoral commissioner trying to cause a problem in a process that you had described as an observer as something that was peaceful up to the point of its disruption?
Well, I had to speak with election observers from, credible bodies like Yaga Africa and a couple of party agents, and actually, especially even the international observers that I spoke with this afternoon, we're calling on the federal government and on INEC to not take lightly what has been done. A lot of them call it, describe what the REC had done as usurping power, and a lot more of the party agents, especially from the People's Democratic Party, were unequivocal about calling for the arrest, of the REC, just about this afternoon. That's all about what we've observed. It's basically, that call is basically coming from party agents and then, of course, some of the international election observers who are here in Yola.
Chinda, and please keep safe. Please keep safe. Thank you very much indeed. Now, on the suspension of the collation of results in Adamawa State, the All Progressives Congress, APC, had earlier addressed the media, and now it is the turn of the People's Democratic Party. Let's now cross live to Abuja, where the opposition People's Democratic Party is holding a briefing on the Adamawa supplementary election.
Where supplementary election held, and which are on the INEC result viewing portal, Governor Fintiri clearly won the election. Our party therefore demands that INEC should, without further delay, announce the result as already collated from the polling units and declare Governor Fintiri as winner. Anything, and I repeat, anything short of this will not be accepted by our party and the people of Adamawa State. I thank you very much. After this, there have been new development, and I think that's very, very important. These are key. We have received confessional reports that the Adamawa State REC was allegedly compromised with the sum of 2 billion naira to subvert the election. The intention of the REC was to make its declaration and then direct the electoral officials in the areas where election took place to manipulate the result to validate his illegal declaration. So what he did was, that's to explain why he did it. Last night, the election at 11 p.m., they went on recess to start off with the collation at 11 a.m. this morning. And what did you find? By 9 a.m., the resident electoral commissioner, who has no business with relation to issue of declaration and collation, went on and declared without result. You see, the nation would have been saved this, and we need to remember that we mentioned the fact that we actually raised alarm on this issue. Our nation would have been saved this embarrassment, because it's embarrassing to the whole world. And it's a sad commentary on INEC and what it has done over the years, particularly with respect to 2023 general elections. You will recall, when we saw this happening, on March 23rd, 2023, we sent a letter to INEC, acknowledged, and the title was Demand for Immediate Deployment and Prosecution of Malam Hudu Yunus Ari, wherein we demanded for his deployment away from Adamawa. Nothing happened. On 27th of March, when we discovered that nothing happened there, we addressed you here and the whole world through this conference, which of course you're familiar with, where we talk about fresh plot, how they wanted to take the results into Abuja and announce. When that failed, they had to continue and then declared it inconclusive. You recall that we drew attention to the fact that the same set of situation that is happening or set to have happened in Adamawa State was the same set that happened in Ogun State. Meanwhile, there was a declaration in Ogun State. When that didn't happen, we called on April 4 on the same issue. So it tells us that the INEC was determined through Malam Ari to ensure that the election in Adamawa is manipulated. So we thank you for coming again this afternoon on this. And when we say when you hear something or when you see something, say something, that's what we have done as a party responsible zone. Because we believe in this democracy. We believe in the rule of law. We expect that every agency of government should do exactly what is established to do. INEC is established to conduct elections, and there are rules and guidelines. And I believe that the INEC headquarters is sufficiently embarrassed by now, and if they are, they should do the right thing now and stop this violence on the conscience of the Adamawa people. Because violence need not only be physical. When you, as an institution, continue to provoke the emotion of people and begin to disregard their feelings, and people went on to the votes, and they voted, and then somebody takes away. What violence can be more than that? Violence to their conscience, violence to their integrity, violence to their own sensibility. And I think this must stop. We are calling on INEC right now to conclude Adamawa rerun election, a supplementary election, and declare the candidate as won, which is the governor, Ahmadu Fintiri. And I think that Mr. President should listen to this. This clearly cannot be part of your legacy. You leave in office in a couple of weeks. Direct and do the right thing. But surely this is not a legacy that you should be proud of. I thank you very much for listening. The question can listen to it. Yes, sir.
Before I ask a question, will we be quoting you on the 2 billion naira compromise on the dust by way of...
Please quote me. We said, we have reports that was 2 billion. We say something to you. When we hear something, we say something. Let the man who has been... And it's a confession. We've seen videos of the man being beaten, painfully so. That is not our way. But like I said, violence need not be physical. There's so much violence ongoing as we speak. On the people of Adamawa State, the government can stop it, INEC can stop it by concluding this election, and we have the reports, we have all the results as we speak. Governor Fintiri won clean, clear. And so, and 10 of the local governments, the results have been declared. So, and he won in 7 of that. So I don't know what magic that they want to perform. And the man is already confessing. And the allegation of 2 billion naira have changed hands. But it is sad that election is beginning to look like war. It should be a celebration. President Buhari should do that which is right. He has some few days to redeem some of his images. And it's clear Those are reflective of what we said earlier on the presidential election. This is consistent with what happened. Yeah, the presidential elections. Nicely, we are before the tribunal. The good thing about the tribunal is that the justices are Nigerians. They listen to all this. They see it. And they know that they should do that which is right for posterity and for continuing existence and development of our democracy. Again, we don't want to comment on what is before the court with sub judice, but these are people, these are justices, like Nigerians, who have families, and they listen to TV and read reports, and of course, they know that they will do that which is right. This is not time for technicalities, to say, do substantial justice, and this case is one of such, so we can keep our country together.
So what would be your course of action if INEC fails to declare your candidate?
When you're asking me to tell you what my strategy will be, I will not do that here.
Because you said it will not be accepted.
I just said that you should take that and run with that, but whatever I'm going to do will not be, I don't want to, you don't preempt me, but make no mistake. Make no mistake. And the Nigerians should know that. Again, we need to look at what happened in the First Republic. It is the recklessness of these irresponsible officials taking people for granted and saying, look, go to hell, that brought about the challenge to that First Republic. I'm sure Buhari doesn't want that to happen under his watch, and it will be his legacy. So what action we'll take is without prejudice to anything. So I can say that anything. And then they will come back and say, hey, people want to break Nigeria. How do you take people's votes away and think the country will not break? Why would you think people will just keep quiet and you begin to pull them on everything? Of course there will be action, there will be reaction. And that's why I said the violence is ongoing. Please tell INEC to stop the violence on the people of Adamawa State now, on their conscience and integrity, in their reputation, and do that which is right. Declare Umaru Fintiri as the winner because he won from the all valid votes that were cast in that election.
All right. Are you satisfied with the efforts made by INEC so far vis-a-vis stopping whatever has been going on there?
Yeah.
And then the fact that it has nullified whatever position that its rep took in Adamawa so far. Okay.
In my statements, we note when they said the action of that renegade resident electoral commissioner, the irresponsible and criminal man who thinks he can stoke crisis in Nigeria and go away with it, we note the effort and the statement, the headquarters of INEC. But it is not enough to make that statement. What is important is to direct to ensure that the process is concluded. That's what we're asking for. That statement is okay, it's noted, but that's not important to say it's null and void. Yes, we know. But there's a criminal element to it. There's a subversion in this. These are serious issues. The man trying to impose an illegal election that will produce an illegal government. That's subversion. And we'll get to that point. But INEC should not just stop at issuing that statement. INEC should ensure that Professor Mahmoud Malik, the returning officer, conclude that job, which I started last time. They have 9 local government to go. They should collate it, announce the result, which are already on the IREV portal of INEC. So declare, and then we'll have peace, and then the violence that is continuing on the people of Adamawa State will stop. We want INEC to halt that now, because they're bleeding, and they are kneeling on the neck of the people, and they're dying, and they will react at some point. We don't want them to react. INEC should stop it. They should just announce, and then we can have peace. Yes, sir.
But the woman has accepted what do you say?
Okay, that tells you that again, because there was no result. So whatever she has, whatever you can see the shenanigans going on. Obviously, this was planned. She already has a prepared whatever it is. I discounted on that because I said it didn't happen in law and in fact. That's why it is null and void. And I recognize that. I thank you very, very much for coming in, and I appreciate you. God bless you.
Well, the reaction of the People's Democratic Party, their press briefing on the Adamawa supplementary election. Our Rice correspondent Amaka Ude-Walker is standing by now for more information. Well, we'll come back to her after this short break. We'll be right back. Welcome back to This is Live, the Sunday talk show. Earlier on, we took the press briefing by the People's Democratic Party on the Adamawa situation. Our Rice correspondent Amaka Ude-Walker is standing by now for more information. Good afternoon, Amaka. Thank you for joining me on This is Live, the Sunday talk show.
Hi, Dr. Abati.
Yeah.
Good to be on the show with you today. Okay,
you were part of that press briefing. Any additional information apart from, the position articulated a short while ago by the spokesperson of the People's Democratic Party, Ologunagba?
Well, Dr. Abati, what we do know at this moment is that the People's Democratic Party, emphatically, they're saying, as it stands right now, that their candidate, who is the incumbent there, Governor Ahmadu Fintiri, should be declared the winner because, according to them, 7 out of the 10 polling units that was announced a little earlier, he was in the clear lead. Remember, this election was actually, called inconclusive, and of course, this supplementary election announced by INEC after that margin of lead, when you compare the numbers with the council votes from about 20 local government areas. That's the reason why we're here today. So they are saying, even before it was declared inconclusive, their candidate was winning. And from the results that has been declared so far, their candidate is still leading with about 9,000 votes. So the illegality in Adamawa State cannot stand. And aside from that demand of their candidate being declared the winner, they are also demanding the arrest of the returning officer in Adamawa State. And according to the People's Democratic Party, some of the excerpts of what was said, aside from what was briefed today, is that they're saying that the man, speaking about Malam Hudu Yunusa Ari, should be declared wanted and be arrested immediately for what the PDP is describing as the usurpation of the will of the people by declaring, of course, a different candidate, speaking of the candidate of the All Progressives Congress, as the winner, even though the numbers, that they say don't lie, are clear that the PDP is in clear lead. And of course, this illegality, according to the party, cannot stand. So that's what we know for now. And let's not forget, not too long ago, the candidate, speaking about the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party in the 2023 presidential election, speaking about Atiku Abubakar, he himself had released a statement and saying that, INEC needs to act fast. If not, this might just signal the end of democracy. This is me paraphrasing what he had said earlier. So this is where we are. The PDP says the illegality cannot stand. That yes, INEC has taken the first step by, cancelling what was done earlier on this morning at 9 a.m. in Yola. But beyond that, Malam Nuri should be arrested, and of course their candidate declared the winner. So that is what we do have from the national headquarters of the People's Democratic Party here in Abuja. Ruben?
Well, INEC has summoned the resident electoral commissioner in Adamawa and also the returning officer to Abuja. Any information with regard to that? Adamawa is not too far from Abuja. Is there any fresh news coming from the INEC headquarters?
Well, Dr. Abati, what we do know is the fact that there is no time frame. Looking at that notice, which is the only information that we have gotten from the national headquarters of the Independent National Electoral Commission, they just say, cancel all that you have done so far, come to Abuja, we will actually declare the winners or whatever next step we need to take here in the nation's capital. But as to the time frame as to when this will happen, no one knows for sure. And remember, 10 local governments are still outstanding because at the time we went into the supplementary elections, it was supposed to be 20 local government results that were being anticipated. As at 1 a.m. yesterday, only 10 local governments had been announced. So 10 local governments are still being awaited at the moment. So between when those results will be declared and, of course, when a winner will eventually emerge, the time frame for now, INEC is not really saying so much, aside from that press statement that was released by the Director of Voter Education, speaking about Dr. Festus Okoye earlier in the day. So for now, time frame as to what will happen next will be, your guess is as good as mine. But, Nigerians are waiting with bated breath, and we expect that this process should be wrapped up as soon as possible. Remember, these are the last tranche of elections that, of course, will signal the end of the 2023 general elections. Let's not forget, we do have off-season elections coming up in matter of months, speaking about elections in Kogi, Imo State, as well as Bayelsa State. I know INEC will want to do its best to make sure this is wrapped up as soon as possible, so that way they can focus on those off-season elections. But Dr. Abati, for now, time frame as to what will happen next, I guess we just have to wait.
Well, that's the question. What will happen next? We're all waiting and watching. Thank you very much, Amaka Odewalker. Thank you very much indeed.